Hello, everyone. Corrie here, coming in to do a channeled message. This is being recorded on the 8th, and it is going to follow in through the full moon energy that is happening. And it's also being recorded on the day of the passing of the Queen. And it's definitely a day of change. It's a woman who was truly living out her divine destiny, whether you agree with the royal family, you don't, it doesn't matter. It's the essence of what we all come here to do. And her divine destiny, she lived all the way through to her time here on earth. And so as a woman who really truly empowered and made changes and did what she was here to do, there's just so much to be admired about that, so much. But onto this message. And of course, this one is, I just released a couple days ago the channeled message for this week. This one, of course, changes up a little bit. This one goes into the predictions and speaking, channeling through listening to the guides and the beings and whatever is communicating through, most times working through that divine, through the guardians, through God energy, and just trusting. Today, I also have the essence of Metatron here with me as well. And just, I just see we're mapping through some big changes, and we're going to see some big changes. And those big changes are not going to always be in it's not going to be in agreement to working for the everyday folk, put it that way. For the everyday people, I don't feel like this is something that is going to be great for everyone. I do feel like there is, or I see there is some big shifts and changes that are happening around. So this video is definitely a little bit different than the one you got a couple days ago. And you're like, well, what's the difference? The difference is channeling. You're channeling through, in that absolute divine love is such a difference than when you are reading through the energy and asking for, what is happening throughout the world? What is the heads up? How do we, how do we function and operate and show up ourselves during these times? So working through the full moon and through this retrograde energy we happening, and through these changes, and kind of like we're weaving in and out. So over the summer, I did do 2 or 3 videos that did speak about the changing of the crowns, and that we were going to see an exchange in crowns. We're going to see the crowns changing coming up. And of course, here we are right now. And so we will be bearing witness to that as well, and seeing coming into place a king and not a queen. So we've had a queen for a long time through the royal family, through that link through the UK into all of where the queen sits. And now we have the shift and change, and it's coming into a king energy. And that king energy brings about a whole new energy, a whole different perspective, a way of being, a change. And there's just so much that's going to be taking place with that as well, that we're picking up. And I'm like, it just geometrically changes everything as well. So we have some, I just feel like, I'm going to say this as it's coming through. We're really truly getting that pushing power. We're going to see more of pushing power, and the pushback in the feminine will be Mother Earth and that divine Mother Earth energy. And the pushback will come from the divine mother and from that divine energy of just saying, let me show you. But we're going to have a big push. That's what I keep getting. Oh, and that's how I hear it. And so there's a hum. There's just this vibrational energy of wait and see. I told you. So I know I have a divine royal who's speaking through about some of what is to come in probably not some great ways. because I do feel like there's going to be some not great things that start to show itself in the world and in society that has to happen. And I keep getting this, and I don't know where this comes from or what it ties to. And it's like, London Bridge is falling down. And that keeps coming up to me. And I just remember being a kid, and my parents had, and I spoke about this before, and my parents had one of those, it was like it would hold scotch or something, like scotch bottle holder, liquor bottle holders, and each side, the tops would open, but it was that London Bridge replica, and it would have the two tops that open, and you put the bottles in, and you close the two tops, and then the chain bridges would come down, and then they would come up, and you could move them, and we used to play with it, and it was this black leather type of thing. And I just remember being able to move this, and when you take we take the bottles out, and we'd put something else in, and so it's like, that's kind of what I see. I see this coming in a way of just seeing, maybe, the changing of the guards, the opening channels. I feel like channels are opening, new directions. Things are really being put into play. So things that have been discussed behind closed doors are going to start to come into play. They're opening up the portals, the doors, the channels, the gateways to kind of start acting out some of the things that have been being created behind closed doors. And coming into October, November, December, like, you're really going to see this. By January, there's a massive freeze. I see a massive freeze happening. I see there's like this big freeze, a big winter freeze, and it's larger than ever. And it's almost like, well, this is because, and it's not. It's just, it's how things are. And I just see there's this massive, massive freeze, but with that massive freeze also comes an awareness of how unequipped, or on, like, how we can be so laser focused on one thing that we don't look at everything else, that we're not seeing the problems or the complications or what can happen, what can go wrong. And we're going to see some really collapses in some of those, what they thought were well planned out thoughts or changes that higher ups wanted to implement or bring in. And so they are showing me that that's very present right now. So we do have that happening. As we are coming in through the full moon energy. So I always say, what I do is I bring all the big things that I see and bring that universal energy into us. And so when we look at coming into ourselves from out there and we bring it into us, is how do, we can't change the world. How can we be the change that we need to be in our own lives and in our world? And it's to be eyes wide open, to have your eyes wide open, to not to be asleep at the wheel, to not to be numb, to not to have blind faith in areas and just say, they would never do that to us. They'd never lie to us. It's like governments would never lie to us. People would never, they would never put our lives in danger. Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would, because it's not about people. It's about plans. It's about, I always say it's about, probably the kids that got bullied in school, the brilliant ones. Some of those brilliant ones are the same brilliant ones that are now like the masterminds behind that takeover of many things in the world. And so the last thing they're going to do is be concerned about the everyday people. It's not who they're concerned about. You have to be concerned about you. You have to care for you. You have to take care of you. And not saying all are like that. We're saying some are like that. There's some really good philanthropists out there. There's people that are doing some really good things out there. And there is a lot of really, really good that's happening. But on the other end is that we cannot deny, and we cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that not everything is a good intention, and not everything ever had a good intention. Just like we always say, look at selling bottled water. Whoever allowed it to be okay to bottle water, something that is there for us, and sell it back to us that we have, and then tell us we shouldn't drink our tap water, or we shouldn't drink the water we have. I don't know. There's just something so wrong about all of that in such a way. but it's because it was already in our hands. It was already there. We already had it for free. And then all of a sudden we stop believing that what we have for free is okay for us. And we start to buy what is free, right? We start to buy what is actually free. And now a new enterprise is then created, a new business. And then it's put in plastic bottles. What happens when it was put in plastic bottles? Now what we had for free don't just cost us money, but it also costs Mother Earth. And it comes at a cost. Everything comes at a cost. And you have to remember that. What is it costing me to truly put my faith into something that is out there, or to not to see beyond some of the actual, intentions behind some of the plans that are being thrown at us and being put forth? So, that master manipulation energy, we also have that master manipulation energy within us. It exists within us. We have the ability to be that within ourselves. We truly do. So, what else do they have? Oh, sorry. Too much energy. We're going to be seeing some big structures collapse. And I don't know if this is a hurricane, a typhoon energy, or what this is, or if this is an attack somehow. An attack somehow. An attack somehow. Terrorist attack. I don't know. Something of an attack. Almost like I'm seeing a chess game and making all the right moves, little tiny moves, putting everything in place to prepare to, without ever anyone noticing, being able to take something over, a takeover, like some sort of big takeover. But I have some big collapses happening, something of a big structure, a big building, the ground is coming out from underneath it, and I'm seeing some sort of big collapse happening. And there just feels like there's something behind it. There's something more to the story, and there's something more behind it. And it's like, how did we not see this coming? How did we not see this coming? Getting that. And I don't have dates or times for that. I just see, I don't know how, like, that's what I'm seeing, like, just seeing like the underneath, like collapsing, like I just see everything being kind of spread out, taken apart, pulled apart, something being pulled apart. And I just see that whole being pulled apart energy. And so that's also out there. So it doesn't mean everything will come through. There's many things, fates that can happen that can stop things in mid. We may find out about, they kind of caught this, or they found out about somebody who was making plans to do something that's harmful to people, like that kind of energy that's coming in. The world's gone mad. So there's a lot of crazy energy. There's just a lot of crazy energy. So let's bring this back in now, because it's so big. It's so hard to stay out there for a long time. I want to bring this back into us and bring it into, how do we make sense of this? And how does this help us? And how does this resonate with us? And how do I use this how do we turn this into jet fuel? So how do we turn it into jet fuel? We, by really truly knowing that, when we start to make these shifts and changes, and these change of guards we talk about, is that when we stop putting our faith in something that's so outside of us that we don't even know, and we bring it back into us. So we become that essence of our own authority. And so coming up, moving forward, it's about, and coming into this full moon energy is truly about your inner authority, and having that sense of being able to use the, judgment, discernment, to be able to trust you and trust your own decisions on what is going to be, what feels right, what seems right, what really truly feels right, and not from responding from being anxious or like in fear, but from a place of faith, from a place of faith, what really truly feels right to me? What is it? What resonates with me? What makes me feel like what makes me feel like this is my right choice and my right decisions? What motivates me? What motivates me? Thinking about that, what motivates me? What is motivating me right now and asking yourself that, what is motivating me right now to be the change that I want to see? What's motivating me to make some of my own decisions and not to look out into the world on what everyone else is doing, but what am I doing? What do I need to do? Where do I need to be? What do I need to participate in for myself? There's a lot of that I energy that's coming in. And so it's blended in with I of selfishness and I of importance, and validating that sense of I have to be the observer, I have to be the creator, I have to be the protector, I have to be those things of my life, of my family, of the people that are in my world, and I have to be that for myself. And so that's coming up as well. And what we're getting with that is that sense of, then on the other end of that, it's the I that is selfish. I'm going to save you. I'm going to create this for you. I'm going to give you this world. I'm going to give you that world. And really be aware of that, whether it is the big world or it is somebody coming into your life, it's somebody new. It's like there's a lot of shyster energy right now. And I'm picking up a lot of that shyster energy, a lot of that whole false promises. That are never have the true intention behind them of caring about anyone else but themselves. I also have the sense of I also have the sense of being this is so big. I gotta go here. I. There's something so big that we will not be able to turn a blind eye. And right now, I mean, in the world, we just seen here in Canada, we just seen something of how our systems fail us in that massive stabbings that have taken place, and the destruction and the hurt and the chaos and the harm, and all by that whole believing, we thought it was best to let somebody free, let somebody out, even though they have shown us time and time again that this is what they're capable of. Well, we're going to see that also again and again and again in a bigger way. But this is like, even though we have seen what can happen, for some reason, I feel like we're going back to trust something, could be country, could be something, that we're going back and saying, oh, we can just trust that it's going to be okay. And it's not going to be okay. Something big is unfolding. And my heart really goes out to the people and to the families who are a part of this whole horrible experience here in Canada that has taken place. And there's just no words, and there's no words. It should never have happened. It should never have happened. To my prayers, and I don't think we can forget these, I don't think we can deny that we have to open up to really explore this, how this happened. That's what I got to say about that. But back, and then onto that big other thing that I'm seeing happening. I'm like, damn it, there's something big that's unfolding, something big that's coming down, something big that's either it's going to get foiled, it's going to get caught, or it's going to happen, but not as severe as what could happen. But there is something, and I feel it. I feel like this is a warning. I feel like we're getting the heads up that there is and I feel like it's like there's a lot of people around, and there's this explosion. I don't know. I just see this explosion of energy. See this explosion happening. I see these, whether it is from Mother Earth, and it's the rise of eruption of something, or an earthquake, but it's a big explosion, and I just see a big explosion, and it's distracting people, and it's there, but I'm like, there's something else that was supposed to follow with it, or another one to come with it. And I'm like, I don't know how this gets caught, or how this gets foiled, or how this, but I'm just picking it up. And I'm just like, it's kind of like a change. It's a turning point in just saying, are we done now? Are we done with this anger? Are we done with this divide? Are we done with allowing? What are we doing? And why are we doing this? And why are we letting this happen? And why is this going on? And I'm like, why do we not take this stuff serious? And I know we are. I know they do take, I know they do take this stuff serious too, but there's just like that concern for humans and for humanity and for the people needs to become an absolute priority. Absolute priority. People have to become important. And it is time that we start teaching people how to treat people, because we have forgotten how to treat each other. It's a lost art, and we have so much, and we have been divided and separated in so many ways. But whatever this is, it brings people back together. And I believe I may have even seen this before, but I'm seeing it again. It's like one big, massive power moment. Okay. So I'm asking cards to lay out 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 9 cards that I just asked to come out to tell this story, to lay out this story, to lay out what we need to do, who we need to be, and how we need to be it. So I feel like there's like this sense of like, we get caught up in the fear of moving forward. How do we move forward? And so moving forward, I feel like we're going to see a lot of obstacles standing in our way. We see a lot of reasons why we should back down, but we're being told, don't back down. Keep going. So it's like there's this like foiled plans. I feel like it's like, so we have the 8 of Wands in reverse, and it's that sense of like, you're just seeing that sense of there's this like moving forward with plans, but plans are getting foiled. Plans are not working out. There's a lot of disruption. There's a lot of change, but it's like, what is the intention? What is our passion? What is the desire behind? So there's a lot to that. There's a heart. What is the heart of the matter, right? What is at the heart of the matter? That's what we have to be very clear with our own self, and with our own choices and our own decisions, our own whys, on why we're doing what we're doing. If we're coming from fear, if we're coming from faith, we have to be very, very cautious of that. I'm very aware to know that it's a pure good intention, that from our highest good, from that sense of what I call the super ego, right? From that sense of the righteousness of what is right, the virtuous self, trusting the guides, the angels, that pure God conscious energy that just goes with wisdom and goes against the grain of that, gets us lost in the translation of knowledge and learning human knowledge. And just, there's a lot of opinions that create a lot of the things that are behind the knowledge. And so it's like there's a lot of chatter. And so there is a lot of foiled plans. So even in your own personal plans, you may have created a lot of things from your ego, from the sense of, I want this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to prove the world wrong. And so, we create that monster energy within ourselves, and we set goals and try to create worlds around that. And we're just being said, a lot of that's going to get foiled on us coming forward. Like there's going to be a lot of soiled on us. There's just going to be a lot of plans that are just going to have these blocks. There's shutdowns that it's not going to work. It's not going to work out. And it's not going to work out because the intention behind it is not pure. It is not from the truest version of self. It's not from love. It's not from light. It's lower vibrating energy. It's lower frequency. It's not going to work, not going to work. And then we're just being told that then we have this 5 of Pentacles. And this 5 of Pentacles is, and here's these in the trees. And so with these ravens in the tree, my yard is full of ravens in the tree, and there's lots of berries for them to eat. But what do they wait for? What mine are waiting for is because I've been feeding them peanuts, because I'm feeding the blue jays peanuts. And so they don't want the berries in the tree because the berries are work. They want the peanuts that are on the ground because the peanuts are easy, and they rather have the peanuts than they rather have the berries and the apples that are in the tree. So they go up and they're poking holes in the apples and biting at them, but they're leaving damaged apples in the tree. And so then they're just there. But instead, they're going to the ground to get the peanuts. Now, if the peanuts weren't there and it was just dead apples and they were on the bottom, they'd be much better off in the top of the tree taking out those apples. There's a lot of this sense of, why be a bottom feeder in your life? Why take it what's already fallen? Why try to be a version of somebody else when you can be the version of you? Why settle for the second best or the less than within you when you can have the best of you, when you can really truly take what is fresh, right? So, don't get caught up in old energy, old worlds, old stuff. What is fresh? What feels new to me? It's this sense of like sweetness. There's a sweetness to what is still attached to the vine, what is still pure, what still has a pure essence, what has, so that's where wisdom comes in, and being able to trust that wisdom, because that's how shitty choices and mistakes happen. That's how the sense of causing harm to another happens, is the sense that a narrative of an old story of old energy becomes constant, like reality and a truth, but it's not all truth. It is just built on weak foundations and lies of the past and everything else. And we get passionate about still having a conviction or getting revenge or getting back, and still trying to make up for something in the past. And that's not going to work for us moving forward. We have to be very clear. We have to see that, here we have the 4. And so they have everything that they need. So if they have everything that they need, why get caught up in an old story? So we have everything I need to live a good life and a healthy life and a beautiful life. Why would we get caught in the shitstorm? Why would we get caught in this world, caught up in the stuff that's happening within this world? So there's illusions of truth. And see, behind here is a city. Behind here is the city. And he's over here. Now, is he in the scrapyard? Right? Is he over here in the scraps? Is he over here collecting the stuff? Is he over here, or is he over here in a space where nobody else looks? Everyone else is over here in the city, caught up in the city stuff, but he's over here collecting treasures, what everyone else throws out. Sometimes somebody else's garbage is somebody else's treasure, right? And so the things that people say, that's not going to work, that's not going to work. Maybe it will work, right? And so there's a lot of things for us to discover and explore, to look at all sides of things. Should we trash some of our ideas because the world says it's not going to work? Should we trash some of the things that, because it says you got nothing to prove that it is true or that it's right, so we need to trash it? Why does it need, not everything that comes through as predictions or truth has proof. It's just a knowing, it's a trusting, it's being able to see through. So this city in reverse is just telling me in the back, it's just saying, I feel like there is something that's connecting into the cities somehow, and I don't know where, don't know any of that, but that is, just saying that these old stories, something being caught or discovered that could transform our lives, transform the world's lives, transform people's lives. And I just feel like it's like, but what if it turns into something really good? Right? If it turns, what if there's something that instead of something really not good happening, what if something really great is happening? What if we're breaking ground on something really good, really, really good, even though the intentions don't start out good? And it's like, sometimes our intentions don't start out good. And then we start to learn more about ourselves, learn stuff as we start to go. It's like, without even knowing that somehow God is involved, and then before you know it, you're starting to believe in something you didn't believe in, and you're starting to see something in a much clearer picture, and you're starting to have an open heart and an open mind, and change starts to happen. What if the transformation turns out to be something good? What if it is something great that takes place? What if? And that's what I feel like. And so we have the medicine woman, and she's coming in. So we're changing decks. And this, we're coming into the divine feminine, because I feel like a lot of this ties around our masculine energy, that sense of, having to do warrior energy, being in charge. And it takes that softer, creative, the gentleness, the nurturing. So there's nurturing energy that's coming in for us as well. That's just saying, you know what? I think it takes that voice of wise woman energy to bring about some of the changes. And we all have a divine feminine within us, whether it's masculine or whether you're masculine or feminine, we have both within us. And so this one comes up, and she's the medicine woman. This is not her name now. Her name's Ruthie. And Ruthie, and this, because this was an older deck, this is Ruthie. And Ruthie speaks about, this sense of, she's so rooted and grounded in herself. Is she going to get lost, or has she been found and she's walking back out? Like she's walked through her light. So sometimes this is epiphanies. Sometimes this is the sense of just knowing that we got to get to the root of the problem. So how do we find solutions? By truly staying in the solution, knowing that the solution means sometimes we have to dive deep. And I feel like coming forward, especially with this full moon, we have to really deep dive into what it is that leaves us in those sore spot energies. What are those wounds that we are done picking scabs off and done band-aiding, and we're finally ready to rise up the opportunities from it, to see something good, to bring something good into fruition, to see something good unfold. And the unassuming's a mirror who also is coming through that light. And sometimes what we think is coming and what truly comes are something that is totally different. So even though somebody could have a really shitty intention and not good intention, that there's a divine intervention. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing some sort of divine intervention coming in. And that divine intervention sometimes is a change in our own hearts, a change in our own minds, a change in our own perspectives. And with it then comes in something more loving, something more beautiful, something that brings about change. And I'm like, so she's walking through, and she's, her sacral, her root is like, her roots are just like, she's grounded and rooted. Her hands are roots. And she's like so rooted and grounded into that ancestor energy. So that ancestor energy ties us into the divine. It ties us into the wise ones. It ties us into the medicine people, the shamans, the shamans that walk before us, like all that has been here before us, that has great wisdom and knowledge that can be of service to us. And I feel like it's like interfering in any plans that are coming in, that are trying to pass off the narrative of the old stories, or what has been they're trying to push through the doors. And I think we're going to see divine intervention. And then we have the forever yearning, which is Luna. And that when we are forever yearning for something that we think we don't have, or that we're forever yearning for the sense of safety and security and all those things, it's the same thing as selling you a bottle of water. Selling you the sense of security is false, because there is no real security. Your next moment is not guaranteed. Living is not guaranteed. Being alive is not guaranteed. Living your best life while you're here is something that is up to you, and it can give you some sort of satisfaction in knowing that you're just living your best life. But selling security, sense of security, is like selling bottled water. Selling alarm systems is just like selling bottled water. There's no freaking difference. But it's what we tell ourselves. It's how we believe those things to bring us. It brings us into a place of peace. You're going to put an alarm system on your house, but your house is filled with windows. You put locks on your doors and you lock everything up, and you believe you're safe at night, but you have glass windows. Houses are filled with glass. So what keeps somebody out? It's the fact that there's still more good people than there is bad people. And the fact that people are bad, that there is still more good people in the world than there is people with unhealthy intentions. That world, that fear story we're sold, is so bad. It's so out there because it is real though. But when we only see the bad in one person or in one group, or right, it's hard to see the good. And we're sold to divide. We have been dividing and conquering. We have been sold that story. We have been sold the security story, been sold the water story. We've been sold all these stories to create fear so that we would exist in survival mode. And this is forever, you know, this sense of forever yearning is that once we come into this awareness of our truth of who we are, and we sit up on our own throne, put our own crowns on, and we have that inner authority and that sense of using our own judgment, is that yes, I lock my doors. Of course I do. Because if someone's going to try to come in, at least it's going to take them longer to try to get in. But it's not, none of that is going to keep out anything that really truly wants to invade, wants to get in. But the divine intervention can cause something. So security system might not keep someone out, but a big ass German Shepherd waiting on the other side may cause a lot of damage, right? Like there's always another way. There's always something else to the story. And if we only see the fear and we only see the anger, we only see the dark and we can't see the light, then how do we ever be able to live in a sense of living and thriving and growing and evolving? So a lot of these narratives and stories that we're being sold is being sold fear. And that this, you know, the Chicken Little stories and the world is falling and the things are crumbling, and so much of it has another perspective, but they have been playing all of the right pieces on that chessboard, all of the right to put everything in place to just like come in and just like collapse over. But there's something coming. So there's the master manipulator, right? And so when we are the master manipulator of our own energy, we believe those narratives because it feeds our fear story. It gives us a reason and a why to continue to hold on to the illusions and be disillusioned by the world. And it gives us the crutch so that we can stay in that old energy, to stay who we are. And we're being told, you know, we have a whole world of bleeding hearts, right? And I'm gonna come save you. But you know, this is a big picture, and there's so much that's happening in this big picture. And when we look at it, there's two hearts, and so there's a heart that's upside down. One is flowing into the other. So when our heart is upside down, our high heart, the higher self, the spirit world, the greater than us energy, the conscious super consciousness never is upside down. It's never in doubt. It's never in fear. It's never feeding off emotions to make those choices and decisions. It is what it is. It knows what it knows, and it just acts on that. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's, you know, we don't do that. And so because we have so many memories and so many stories and so many narratives, it's so caught up. And so when the light comes in, when something comes in and shines a light up on what needs to be seen, is we get our head out of the clouds. We leave behind our anger, our envy, our jealousy, our frustrations, all of those things. And we start to see clearly on the why to why we have accepted that, or the why to why we have such a burning desire to act out some of the things that are happening, that we think we should be doing. And it instills a new sense of love. And so that being grounded and rooted. And so I just feel like Mother Earth is rising up here. There's something rising from the elements, from the middle world. The ants are coming. The ants are coming. And as these ants come, and as this world makes these changes, we need the divine feminine more than ever to be the nurturer, to be the love, and to be a reflection of hope, love, and light in the world. Because there's going to be and there's a lot of beautiful masculine energy, and there's a lot of beautiful men out there with beautiful hearts and beautiful souls. And we need those men. We need men to be men. Not, you know, and that's not knocking anything else, but we need the men who are real, like who are the real essence of that sense of strong in their masculine energy, and not out of fear, not out of old story, but from our hearts, from a place of good, pure intention in our hearts, to also stand with the strong women, the strong feminine that is also standing to bring back together this collective energy, this coexisting energy, to help to foster through the divine feminine, the divine mother, the divine father story, because we need the divine mother and the divine father story, which is spirit, which is the essence of something out there, to be the reflection of hope, because we are in a stage and a growth and a time that is bringing about major transformation, major beginnings, major endings. But it's just like, the witnessing of this Mercury in retrograde, and where Gemini sits and where Pisces comes into this full moon. And both of those are like, there's like a double edge to it. There's two personalities, like the fish are two that are going away from each other, right? And then this Gemini is that battling of these two identities. So we're always in that sense of being, discernment and judgment. And sometimes we have to consult with one another. We have to consult with both sides of ourselves. We have to consult with our shadow, and consult with our truth, and consult with where we have been, and consult with where we want to go, and how we want to see our world, and how we want to see our lives, and just letting it all kind of work together to be one, to come together as one. And I think in the end, and what I'm thinking, I'm not thinking nothing. What I've seen, and they keep telling me that you trying to hide away from what you are. What I'm seeing is that in the end, I just see all of this guard of energy just coming together and just saying, no, 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 you're not doing that. No, you're not getting in. And then there's opens up over here into this field of beautiful transformational wildflowers. I keep seeing wildflowers everywhere. And this sense of, and of course, sunflowers. And I just keep seeing all these flowers rising, and always remembering that underneath all those flowers there's always worms and dirt worms, and there's also serpents, and there's also stuff hiding underneath those flowers. And so it's like, even though we see all the beauty and we see what's happening over here, there's still stuff that is happening underneath the ground. There's still things that are there, and some have good intentions and some don't. But when more is of the light and more is that colorful, happy, joyful energy, there is less chance, because that light is pushing out any sense of darkness, even within ourselves, that it gives us the opportunity to be able to, it just says, you know what, maybe I don't want to be that person. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe we need to really rethink this. And so this whole field, this whole garden, just like, the sweetness, the love, and the kindness and the love can really truly help ourselves and others to be able to change their minds. And when we do that, we start to make new moves, make changes, and be the change that we want to see in the world. And that's the message that we have. I know it's a long message. I know there's a long way around it. And there's a lot of moving pieces, because there is a lot of moving pieces. This is all of the world energy. And then I had to try to bring that in. Hard to bring this in today, hard to bring this into us. And, what's happening in the universe happens within us in a feeling and an energy. And so just bringing that in and just letting ourselves feel our truth, feel this love, know that many things are happening all around us, but we start to see through some of the greatest illusions, and not be disillusioned, not to be in fear, not to be caught up in those stories, but to know that, yeah, it's real possibilities, real shit can happen, but so can divine intervention, so can miracles, so can beautiful things. Many things can take place that bring about those changes that we really want to see in this world. So I hope this message resonates with you. Just released my second book, My Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection. This book is truly about our truth, and seeing through the eyes, seeing through the human eyes all the way to the soul. And when having that ability to be able to see the soul, to see that essence of goodness that are inside of that are in people, beyond people, and that we're more than what we think we are. If we could only see what we really are, we would never doubt ourselves. And so this speaks about the truth, about the truth, the lies and the lies and the half-hearted truths that we live in that exist our reality and our truth. And when we can truly look back through our stories and we can see a new truth, we can see things with eyes of love and eyes of change, is that we change our own stories and we be the change that we want to see. My first book is More Than Existing. We are more than our suffering. We are more than our pain. We're more than our stories. We're more than the narratives. We're more than what we think we are. And so this is, me making a choice to say, I'm done. I am done. I am making a choice to more than just exist. And I want to more than just be caught in this cycle, this rat race, and making that choice to take ownership and responsibility of my own life. So this will be 5 books by the time this all comes out. But these are the first 2 that are out. They're available on Amazon. So this is More Than Existing. And this is My Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection. So much love. Thank you. And please subscribe if you like my YouTube channel. I'm also have another YouTube channel called She Is More Than Existing. That's a podcasting one. That's just the everyday average me having conversations about life. And then also on my Facebook. And you can also check out MTE Academy, which has many courses coming up. It is a team collective work. Both myself and Lisa Richard, who owns Loving Energy Recharge, we both have some programs that are happening in there that are coming up in September. So you can go check those out as well. Thank you and much love. And thank you for supporting my page and my work and everything else. Thank you. Bye-bye.